The year is 1861, a time of great turmoil and uncertainty. Imagine a nation split in two, divided not just by geography, but by ideology and values. This was America on the eve of the Civil War, a country on the brink of a monumental conflict. The issue tearing the country apart, slavery, a deeply entrenched institution that had long been a source of contention. In the North, many people thought slavery was morally wrong and wanted it abolished, seeing it as a blight on the nation's conscience. The South, however, relied heavily on slave labor for its economy, especially on large cotton farms that were the backbone of its wealth. This disagreement wasn't new. It had been simmering for decades, creating a growing rift between the two regions. The South felt its way of life, deeply intertwined with slavery, was under attack, and they were determined to defend it. The North increasingly saw slavery as a moral stain on the nation, a fundamental wrong that needed to be eradicated. Something had to give. The Civil War remains a pivotal event in American history, a defining moment that shaped the future of the nation. It was a brutal conflict that tested the very fabric of the nation, with immense sacrifices on both sides. Brother fought against brother, and the land bore witness to unimaginable suffering and devastation. Yet from this crucible of fire emerged a nation transformed, its commitment to freedom and unity ultimately tested and reaffirmed, paving the way for a new chapter in American history. Slavery wasn't the only issue. States' rights, or the power individual states held compared to the federal government, also played a significant role. The South believed states should have more autonomy, while the North favored a stronger central government. Tensions escalated with events like the publication of Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin, a powerful anti-slavery novel that ignited Northern abolitionist sentiment. Meanwhile, the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, requiring Northerners to return escaped slaves, further inflamed tensions. The debate over slavery extended to new territories joining the nation. Should they be admitted as free or slave states? The issue became a political football, deepening the divide between North and South. The election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860 proved to be the breaking point. Lincoln, while not explicitly aiming to abolish slavery, campaigned against its expansion. This was enough for Southern states, who saw him as a threat to their way of life. South Carolina was the first to secede from the Union in December 1860, followed by 6 other states. They formed the Confederate States of America, electing Jefferson Davis as their president. The stage was set for war. The first shots were fired at Fort Sumter in South Carolina on April 12, 1861. Confederate forces attacked the Union garrison, marking the beginning of the Civil War. 4 more Southern states joined the Confederacy after the attack on Fort Sumter. The Civil War was a bloody affair. Battles raged across the country, from the rolling hills of Gettysburg to the swamps of Shiloh. Each side fought fiercely, believing in their cause. Key figures emerged on both sides.
For the Union, there was President Abraham Lincoln, a man of quiet resolve who guided the nation through its darkest hour. On the battlefield, General Ulysses S. Grant emerged as a brilliant strategist.
The Confederacy had its own heroes. General Robert E. Lee, a masterful tactician, earned the respect of Northerners and Southerners alike. Stonewall Jackson, Lee's trusted general, became a legend for his tenacity and battlefield prowess.
As the war dragged on, the tide began to turn in favor of the Union.
The North had a larger population, more industrial capacity, and a vast network of railroads to transport troops and supplies.
The Union victory at Gettysburg in July 1863 proved to be a turning point.
The Confederacy, already stretched thin, suffered a devastating blow.
The following year, General William T. Sherman's march through Georgia crippled the South's infrastructure and morale.
Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia on April 9, 1865. The war was over.
The nation, battered and bruised, began the long process of healing. Section 6, picking up the pieces, life after the war. The end of the war brought about a new set of challenges for the nation. The South lay in ruins, its economy shattered and its infrastructure devastated. Millions of newly freed slaves faced an uncertain future with no land, no money, and no clear path forward. Reconstruction, the effort to rebuild the South and integrate former slaves into society, began in earnest.
The Reconstruction era was a time of both progress and struggle, marked by significant social and political changes. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, ending centuries of bondage. The 14th Amendment granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, ensuring equal protection under the law. And the 15th Amendment gave African American men the right to vote, a monumental step towards equality.
Despite these important advancements, the road to equality was long and arduous, fraught with resistance. Southern states enacted black codes to restrict the freedoms of African Americans, undermining their newfound rights. Groups like the Ku Klux Klan emerged, terrorizing black communities and attempting to maintain white supremacy through violence and intimidation.
Section 7, Scars and Echoes, the war's lasting impact. The Civil War, though fought over a century and a half ago, continues to shape the United States. It ended slavery, but the fight for racial equality continues to this day.
The war also solidified the power of the federal government and redefined what it means to be an American. The legacy of the Civil War can be seen in the monuments that dot the landscape, the battlefields preserved as hallowed ground, and the stories passed down through generations.
It is a reminder of the fragility of democracy, the cost of division, and the enduring power of hope. Section 8, Reflection through a modern lens, the Civil War and us. As we look back on the Civil War, we must delve deeper into its lasting impact on our society. It's important to remember that it's not just a chapter in a history book, but a pivotal moment that shaped our nation. The issues that fueled the conflict, slavery, equality, and human rights, and the very nature of our union, still resonate today, echoing through the corridors of time.
The Civil War was a stark reminder that freedom is not free. It came at a great cost. It is a responsibility that falls on each generation to uphold and protect. We must cherish and defend it. The battles may have ended, but their legacy lives on. The struggle for a more just and equitable society continues as we strive to fulfill the promises of our forebears.
It is our duty to learn from the past, to honor the sacrifices made, to understand the complexities of our history, and to educate future generations, and to work towards a future where all Americans are treated with dignity and respect, ensuring that the lessons of the Civil War are never forgotten. Section 9, at conclusion, a more perfect union. The Civil War was a defining moment in American history. It was a time of great tragedy, but also of great courage and sacrifice. In the end, the Union was preserved and slavery was abolished. The war's legacy is complex. It serves as a reminder of the horrors of slavery and the importance of fighting for what is right. It also highlights the challenges of reconciliation and the ongoing struggle for racial justice in America. The Civil War, as Abraham Lincoln famously said, was a struggle to achieve and cherish a lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations. It is a goal we are still striving for today.